So those are some of the things that cathedrals did back then, some of the impulses that helped create cathedrals. Let's take a look today. If you were coming to the Twin Cities, it's the first time you've been here, and you wanted to find out about a church, where would you go? The Well. Thank you very much. That's where we're going. So let's take a look at some of the cathedrals around the world and country. Okay, you know this one. Adi. Let's take a look at what they say about themselves. Okay. It's happy to welcome you, pilgrims, Christians, visitors from all over the world, believers and non-believers. Everyone is welcome in this space. It's a place of Roman Catholic worship where Christians come together to pray. It opens its doors to you to participate in services or to freely visit the cathedral all year long. Its access is open, it's free of charge every day of the year during the opening hours. So they're saying our identity is this. We're a place of pilgrimage, and we're a place of liturgical routine, where people can come and experience high liturgy, good liturgy, and so forth, and especially around certain times of the year. Okay? Let's take a look at the next one. Okay, Washington National Cathedral. What do they say about themselves? Who do they think they are? The cathedral is a spiritual resource for our nation, a great and beautiful edifice in the city of Washington, an indispensable ministry for people of all faiths and perspectives, and a sacred place for our country in times of celebration, crisis, and sorrow. Generous friends, members, and donors around the world support our mission. So that's the mission of the place. It's a church for all people. And it's a place, you've seen it, during times of crisis in our nation and so forth, how people gather there. Presidents are buried there. Wilson is buried there. It's that kind of place. But what I want you to especially notice is, once again, space and light. I want you to think about space and light as we go through this. Figuratively, space. Creating a space for all people to gather, all faiths to gather. You see how they're using space at the cathedral there? Let's go to the next one. St. John the Divine. This is interesting. This is where my buddy Mark Sisk is the bishop. Welcome to the Cathedral Church of St. John the Divine, the cathedral of the Episcopal Diocese of New York and the seat of its bishop. What are they saying there? Corporate headquarters, by golly. Pay attention, people. The cathedral is chartered as a house of prayer for all people, once again space, and a unifying center of intellectual light, and leadership, right? We invite you to become part of the spiritual energy that awaits all who walk through our doors. You get their idea of who they are? Corporate seat, a place of intellectual stimulation, and a place for all people, a space for all people. Let's go to the next. Okay, Grace Cathedral in San Francisco. Okay, Grace Cathedral is the Episcopal Cathedral of the Diocese of California, an iconic house of prayer for all, space again, locally, nationally, and internationally. Our inclusive congregation consists of seekers and believers, we're talking about space again, embraces innovation and open-minded conversation, and tries to put its beliefs into action in all aspects of life. It's beautiful, sacred space, our liturgy and well-known music program, men's and boys choir, and so forth, our Sunday services. We host cultural events in visual arts, music, and drama, often in partnership with others, so they're collaborative. Cathedrals have long been places of pilgrimage, and all of us at Grace Cathedral are ready to welcome you among us, wherever you are able, whenever you are able to visit. So a number of the impulses for cathedrals are being realized, or at least identified, at Grace Church in San Francisco, right? Let's go to the next. Okay, St. Mark's in Seattle, a church that's a little closer to size-wise, the 3 are and so forth. We believe that the light, once again light, and love of God are at the very heart of all things. This light and love are fully manifested for Christians in the life of Jesus of Nazareth, and we believe that they are also revealed in all the great faith traditions. Space. We commit to living into this sacred light and sharing it freely with all. Okay? Once again, a vision of who they are, based on light and space. Let's go to the next. Okay, Trinity. This is in Ohio, in Cleveland. An Episcopal church for all comers. Space, a center for arts and music, a gathering place for those devoted to Cleveland and its future, an assembly place, right? Trinity Cathedral is a thriving urban community of faith. Our diverse congregation is committed to inspiring worship, thought-provoking education, dedicated service, and determined advocacy. We invite newcomers. Now, that whole bottom part could be any church in the world, couldn't it? Have you seen that mission statement before? It's all over the church. Just the first part, that first line, really, is a cathedral aspect. So what you're seeing here is an identity that is probably stronger on congregation than on cathedral. A shift. Let's look at the next. Okay, St. Paul. This is that big old church across the river. Okay, let's see what they say. One would look and see what the rector says. Okay, so here it is. Let's see, our chief shepherd here in the Archdiocese of St. Paul, he talks about the Archbishop and an encounter with beauty in a world desperately in need of a renewed appreciation for the sense of beauty. This building can serve as an entrance into the hearts of those in search of meaning and purpose in their lives. Space again, beauty, offering sort of the awe of a childhood imagination. You walk into a space like that, and it causes you to kind of create and think and imagine. Right? Let's go to the next. Oh, this is an interesting one. Somebody had a great idea. They decided to build a huge cathedral in western Michigan. And they did. They built it with all the sort of impulses of any cathedral. Big space, big mission. Let's see what happened. This is their history. At the bottom,
Sounds like a cathedral.
2007. Not all visions come true. Okay? Somebody had a great idea, but it was not, they had no capacity to accomplish it. Okay? So it's always good not to be grandiose, right? As you seek identity. You want to have something that is attainable if possible. So anyhow, this church went out of business. It was a great idea. Okay, let's look at the next. Oh, who's this? Okay, now, check this out. What does it say? A vibrant and welcoming metropolitan congregation located in the Minneapolis-Loring Park neighborhood, immediately south of downtown. You get it. You get it. There's not much about cathedral. Now, wait, we don't have the bottom of the page, but what's the welcoming remark? Everybody's there.
Wherever you are in your spiritual journey.
Anywhere you are in your spiritual journey, you're welcome. So there is the space piece there, the hospitality piece that is part of the cathedral, but no other indicators of that within our vision statement here or so forth that you would find out if you went on web, right? Find it. Okay, let's drop that and let me talk about that a little bit. Here's my thinking. My thinking is this, that some of the impulses have been they've been farmed out. Some of the cathedral impulses have been farmed out into other places in our world. And some are changing. Some we shouldn't chase after, and some we might still want to chase after as people of God. For example, place of pilgrimage. If you have relics, the one true cross, people might show up. But I went to, what's the name of the place, Franconia, yesterday?
Yeah.
It's a place of pilgrimage. Okay, across the way at the Walker, a place where people show up to see things and so forth. Not too much in our churches. St. John the Divine, yes. Washington National Cathedral, yes. Grace Church, San Francisco, yeah, probably. But you know, not too many more. There aren't too many other places around that I can think of. I know in Laramie, Wyoming, people were not coming to see the cathedral, even though we described it as the highest cathedral in all of Christendom. It's at 7,200 feet elevation. Nobody showed up. Okay? Not a place of pilgrimage. So probably a place of pilgrimage, not so much anymore. There are other places where people go. If you go on vacation, where do you go on pilgrimage? I don't know. People go to different things. Wine places in France or something. Okay. Shrine. We don't have any relics.
At the bishop.
We have what? We do have a bishop. What's his name again? You get my point. At the cathedral in Laramie, we had Bishop Schmuck. Winifred Schmuck. Nobody came. It's no longer the largest room in town. Target Center, right? I mean, if you want to have an assembly, go someplace where you can really get people in. It takes lots of parking garages to park the cars to go in. You know, so Twin Stadium, football stadium, those are the spaces, the big spaces of our day, right? Assembly spaces. Center of intellectual pursuit on a grand scale. How many universities do we have in our community?
Quite a few.
You know, and they're doing scholarship better than we probably can. Am I right? I mean, they're doing good things. And there are seminaries all around. There's all kinds of intellectual things going on. So some of those things, maybe it doesn't make sense to chase down into our identity. Pieces of it, yeah, but not trying to do the grand thing in those areas. Not likely to happen.